Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. How are you, everyone? I hope everyone is doing good by the mercy of Almighty Allah. And today we are going to start our discussion on a new chapter that is called Trigonometry in Measurement. So, trigonometry is a concept that is new to you, right? Like whatever chapter we discussed so far, for example set and sequence, those chapters are already you had a little bit of idea from before, like in grade 8 you studied the chapter set, and then you studied pattern, which is quite similar to sequence and series. But trigonometry is a totally new concept. Okay, so let us get started by trying to understand the meaning of trigonometry. What is the meaning of this word? It is actually a combination of three separate word, that is tri means three. Okay, so whenever we are saying triangle, like triangle, so that is a shape that consists of three angle, right? Gon means side, and then metron means measurement. So trigonometry is nothing but the study about the measurement of a shape that includes three sides. So we know that the name of that shape that consists of three sides is called triangle. Now there are several types of triangle that we know that for a triangle, for example, if we draw a triangle here, okay, okay. So for this triangle, let me change the color so that it is more visible. Yeah, okay. Now if in a triangle all the sides are equal, for example all the three sides are a and a, then we call it equilateral triangle, right? Lateral means side, so equilateral means all the sides are equal. But if it is like that two of the sides are equal and the third side is not equal, these two sides are a equal and b is not equal, so it will be called isosceles triangle, and we have several other equitangle triangle, obtuse angle triangle. But in trigonometry we are not going to discuss about all the triangles, rather we are going to focus on one type of triangle, and that is a right angle triangle. Okay, so in right angle triangle we have to know first what does right angle mean. Now this one you might have studied in earlier grades. Right angle means 90-degree angle, right? So 90-degree angle looks like this. If a line is perpendicular on another line, then they form a 90-degree angle between them. So if in a triangle one angle is 90-degree, then we call that triangle right angled triangle. It's not like all the angle has to be equal to 90-degree, and that is not possible also, because other two angle that will be there, for example let us we have one angle here and then another angle here, right? So these two, both of them will be acute angle. Acute angle. Now why they will be acute angle? Acute angle means the angle is less than 90-degree. Why they have to be less than 90-degree? Think about it in this way. We know that the summation of all the three angles of a triangle are 180-degree. So if this is 90-degree and let us say this is also 90-degree, then 90 plus 90, it is already 180-degree. That means the value of the third angle has to be 0-degree that time, which is not possible, because we can see that clearly there is an angle, no matter how much small is it, it will be 1-degree, 2-degree at least, okay, or 0.5-degree, but definitely it will never be equal to 0-degree. So that is why if one angle is 90-degree, the other has to be less than 90-degree. For example, it can be 89-degree and this can be 1-degree. So 89, 1 and 90 together they will form 180-degree. Okay, so that is why the other two angle that is there in right angle triangle, both are actually acute angle. Okay, now in right angle triangle we have three sides. we have to know how to name the three side. Okay, so let us start with the opposite side of right angle. So this is right angle. If there is a box, so this box will tell you that this angle is 90 degree, and the opposite side of it, we can call it hypotenuse. This is fixed always. Okay, hypotenuse. The opposite side of 90 degree is hypotenuse, and one of the acute angle, we know that there are two acute angles here. One of them will be marked, and we have to consider that one as theta. Now you might be wondering what is theta. This is something I wrote in the previous slide also. Theta is actually Greek letter. The acute angle that we will have here, we will name them or represent them with different Greek letter. For example, here I have mentioned this one as theta. The spelling goes like this. Okay, and then we might represent by alpha and beta, and then there is gamma, and finally there is delta. Okay, so here I have represented with theta. In some of the problem, in the question they might represent these angles by alpha. Okay, so whatever is there, whatever letter they use, you have to use the same letter. Inshallah, we will discuss about it when we solve the problems. Okay, now we have two more sides left, right? We have to give some name to both of them. Now the side that is opposite to theta, that is called opposite, because this is opposite to our considered angle theta. And the one other side that is left, already we have named two of the sides, one side is left. Now this side is adjacent to theta, right? So that is why it is called adjacent. Okay, so let us revise again. The opposite side to 90 degree is hypotenuse, the opposite side of theta is opposite, and the adjacent side to theta is called adjacent. Now always the right angle triangle might not be in this orientation, the orientation may change. For example, this might be another right angle triangle, and the orientation, you can see that it is a little bit different. So in this case also, we have to be able, or we have to learn how to name or find out the sides. Okay, so wherever the box is, okay, I told you that there we have to consider that to be 90 degree. Okay, even though if it does not look like 90 degree in the question paper, but this box is there, you have to consider it 90 degree. The opposite side of this one is called hypotenuse, right? And let us say here they have indicated this angle to be the acute angle under consideration, so let us represent this one by alpha. So the opposite to alpha, this side will be opposite, so in short I'm writing oppo. Okay, and the adjacent to this one, this will be adjacent. Okay, so now let us check out the another orientation. For example, this one. So first thing first, that is we have to mark out the 90 degree angle, and then the opposite to that one, we will name it hypotenuse. In short, I can write hypo. Then this angle we are considering, let us say now we are representing it by beta. So opposite to beta, it is oppo, and with oppo, with beta, that is adjacent. Let me write in short adj. Now this arrow that I am showing, this is for your understanding. In the exam hall, you don't need to put the arrows. So let me just erase those arrows. These arrows are not required to put in the answer script in the exam. Okay. Now you can see that the next triangle that we are seeing, it is similar to the first one that we saw. So you might be thinking why we need to practice it again. The thing is, there is a little bit of difference. So pause the video and try to think what is different here than the first triangle that we studied. I hope many of you could find the difference. That is, here we will consider this angle to be theta, that is the acute angle. We have to consider one acute angle to be theta or alpha, something like that. We have to represent it, and according to that we have to name the side. So 90 degree is this one. Okay, so the opposite to this one will be hypo, that is hypotenuse. Now if this angle is the angle we are considering, then according to that we have to name the side. Okay, so now you see that this was opposite, right? Because it was opposite to theta. Now if you are considering this one to be theta, now this angle is not opposite to theta anymore, rather it is with the theta, so we will call it adjacent now. And which side will be opposite? Opposite will be this side. Okay, the side that was adjacent before, this has become the opposite side now. Okay, so there is an exercise in your textbook. I forgot the page number, but before the exercise, if you see, there are some brain work, brainstorm pair work. So I think one of the practice work is like this. So you have to fill up the table, okay, this table, by looking at the picture. Like name of the right angle triangle A, that is this one. So the acute angle they have represented by theta. Yes, we can see that it is theta. Now this is 90 degree. The opposite side of 90 degree is 17, which is hypotenuse, and you can see that hypotenuse is 17 is written. Now which one is opposite, which one is adjacent, we have to find it out. Now I believe that by now you have understood how to do it. So I will suggest, if you are watching the video, then pause the video here and try to solve the fill up the table yourself, and then match the answer after I have completed. Okay. So the opposite angle side of theta, which one? 8. So opposite will be 8, and only one other side is left, that is actually with the theta, so it is adjacent side 15. Now for B is this one. Again we will notice the 90 degree first and the 90 degree opposite side, that is P, hypotenuse. So P is hypotenuse, and theta is this one opposite to theta, that is R. So this is R, and with the theta there is Q, so there it will be Q. And then for C, yes, C, this is the diagram. Again we will find it out, the 90 degree. So the opposite to 90 degree is EF, right? In C we can see that, oh, we have to be a little bit careful, because I think they by mistake they gave D. It's not actually D, it will be the C triangle again. Okay, because in C there are two triangle, two angle they have considered. One is theta, so for according to theta we have to fill it up, and then according to alpha we have to fill it up again. Okay, so the hypotenuse in the both the case it will be same, because 90 degree opposite side it is EF, so it will remain same. Okay, and then the opposite angle of the opposite side, but opposite to theta, so theta opposite will be EG, this side, right? E to G, so EG, and the adjacent side will be now GF, G to F. Okay, now according to alpha we have to fill it up again. So as it is the same triangle, the hypotenuse is EF. Okay, because 90 degree opposite, it's the same. Let me erase the arrows. Okay, now yes, with respect to alpha, the opposite side is now GF, right? So opposite, here the opposite one is GF, and adjacent, where is alpha? Here alpha, with alpha there is EG. Okay, so in this way we can actually mark out or name the all the three sides of the triangle, of a right angle triangle. Now why is it important to name them? Because now we are going to form several ratios with them. So for example, in this case, which one is hypotenuse? This one, right? In short, let me write H, and as we have considered this angle, it will be opposite, and with this it will be adjacent. So what are the ratio that we can form? Okay, let me write here that O, that is opposite, O represents opposite. Okay, so that there is no confusion. A represents adjacent, and H represents hypotenuse. Okay, so now first let us think opposite and hypotenuse. If we form a ratio with that, oh, what about the ratio? Like if I write A ratio B, okay, this is the ratio of A and B, but this can also be written in this way, right? So if I write a fraction, that also means a ratio. Okay, so if I take the ratio of opposite and hypotenuse, okay, it can be one ratio, and then we can take the ratio of adjacent and hypotenuse, and hypo, adjacent, hypo and adjacent is left, so opposite by adjacent, this can be another ratio. Now if I turn it upside down, for example, if I make it reciprocal, then this ratio will become hypotenuse by opposite, right? Just the reciprocal of it. So adjacent by hypo will become hypo by adjacent, and then oppo by adjacent will become adjacent divided by opposite. Okay, now these ratios are trigonometric ratios and they have certain name. Okay, for example, if this angle is represented by theta, then this will be called sine theta. The full name of this trigonometric ratio is sine, S-I-N-E. The short form is S-I-N, sine theta. Now, why did I write theta? Because the angle is represented by theta. If it is alpha here, then I will write alpha here, okay, sine alpha. And then, after sine, there is cosine, okay, and the short form of cosine is cos, and then obviously we have to write the angle. Cos theta is equal to adjacent by hypo. Then sine cos, okay, cosine, and then we have tangent. This one is tangent, and the short form of tangent is tan, and then we have this theta. Okay, then this one is cosec theta. The opposite of sine theta is cosec theta. The full name of this trigonometric ratio is basically cosecant. In short, we write cosec theta, and writing in this short form is allowed. Okay, so nothing to worry. In the exam also you can write. Then the opposite of cos, like a by h, this is h by a, so the opposite, right? So it is called secant. In short, we write sec theta, secant. Like this is co-secant, this is only secant. Okay, and then this is tangent, this will be cotangent, cotangent. Okay, and the short form of this one is cot theta. Okay, so from here we can write one more thing, that cosec theta is just the opposite of sine theta, right? So we can write cosec theta is equal to 1 by sine theta. And then let me use a little bit of different color. Okay, so then again I can write sine theta is equal to 1 by cosec theta. That means they are reciprocal of each other. Okay, now same goes for cos and sec. Sec is equal to, we can write 1 by cos theta, and again cos theta equal to, we can write 1 by sec theta. And here cot will definitely be 1 by tan theta, as you can understand, and tan theta can be written 1 by cot theta. Now there are two more relation between tan, sine, and cos. So that goes like this. For example, if we have sine theta divided by cos theta, then what is sine theta? Sine theta is oppo by hypo. So opposite divided by hypotenuse, and cos theta is adjacent divided by hypotenuse. So here you can see opposite by hypo, then this division, if I write it as into, the fraction in the denominator will become reciprocal. That means it will be a by h will be turned into h by a. So h and h will be cancelled, and o by a, that means oppo by adjacent will be there. Now you can see that we already have a ratio for opposite by adjacent, correct or not? So opposite by adjacent, we can write tan theta instead of it. So we can write it is equal to tan theta. So from here we can write one more relation. Okay, that is tan theta is equal to sine theta divided by cos theta. Now notice one thing, cot and tan, they are opposite to each other, right? Reciprocal of each other. If tan theta is equal to sine by cos, then cot is equal to just the opposite of it, right? So cos theta by sine theta we can write. So there is a technique to remember it. Okay, cos theta, see, cot, cos, similar, right? And tan, there is n, and sine, there is n, so a little bit similar. So these all are called trigonometric ratios. These all are called trigonometric ratios. This is what we are going to use the most, okay? And more frequently, we are going to use three of them. I will just box it out for you. So this sine, okay? Sine theta is the one that we will be using more. And then we have cos theta. And then we have tan theta. These three are we are going to use the most, okay? And cosec, sec, and cot, this will be less frequently used. And also we will be using tan equal to sine by cos and cot equal to cos by sine. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now there are so many formulas and people students often get confused, and they might make mistakes. So there is a shortcut trick to remember it. I think many of you might have already heard about it. This is very popularly known, that is so ka toa. Now what is the relation of this so ka toa with our sine, cos and tan? You see, sine is equal to oppo by hypo. See, sine equal to oppo by hypo. So we have taken s from here and o and h, s o h. Okay, so if you remember, so you can say sine equal to oppo by hypo. And then this one you can say yourself, right? Cos equal to adjacent by hypo, so c a h ka, and t o a toa. So these three, if you remember, the other three are just the reciprocal of it. So that is why it will be easier for you to memorize, right? So I hope that helps you. Okay, so today the video was about the discussion on the basics of trigonometry. Inshallah, from next day we are going to start solving the exercise problems, and if it is required, we will discuss about some more basics also in some later videos. For example, we have to discuss about angle of elevation and angle of depression. Inshallah, we will discuss that before we solve problem related to angle of elevation and depression. Okay, so today up to this much. I hope everyone understood, and if you have any doubt, then kindly let me know. Happy studying, stay well. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.